Hey everyone, and welcome. There's this hidden science that's happening in labs all around the world every single day. A process that makes sure our medicines are safe and our experiments are actually sound. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of balanced calibration. And really, it all boils down to a question like this. Think about it. The stakes couldn't be higher. The line between a dose that helps and a dose that harms can be absolutely microscopic. So how do scientists and pharmacists really trust the numbers they see on that little screen? Well, the answer is this one word, calibration. The best way to think of it is like a super rigorous exam for a weighing balance. We take a weight that we know is perfectly accurate, that's our reference standard, and we use it to test the balance. This whole process is the bedrock for building trust in every single measurement. So how exactly is that trust built? Let's dig in and look at the two fundamental pillars of any perfect measurement. We're going to build this thing block by block.
You see, every single trustworthy measurement has to answer two big questions. Number one, is it consistent? And number two, is it correct? Now, they might sound like the same thing, but in the world of precision science, they are critically different. A balance has to pass a test for both.
All right, let's tackle the first one and see how this all builds up. We're going to start with consistency, which, in the world of calibration, has a special name, repeatability. Okay, imagine you're throwing darts. Repeatability isn't about hitting the bullseye just yet. Nope. It's about making sure your darts land in the exact same spot over and over again, creating this nice, tight little cluster. That proves the balance is consistent, that it's predictable, and that's the very first step toward building trust. And believe me, the rules for this test are no joke. A technician will use a specific weight, somewhere between 20 and 80% of what the balance can handle, and they measure it again and again. The difference between those measurements cannot be more than 1/10 of 1%. That is an incredibly tiny margin for error. But here's the real payoff from this test. All that data is used to determine what's called the smallest net weight. This number, based purely on the balance's consistency, tells a scientist the absolute minimum amount they can reliably measure. It's basically the lab's safety line. If you weigh anything lighter than that, you just can't trust the result. Okay, so our balance is consistent. Our darts? They're all landing in a beautiful, tight cluster. Fantastic. But what if that cluster is way off in the top corner of the board? Now we have to test for correctness, or what we call accuracy. Accuracy is all about hitting that bullseye. Simple as that. We take our certified reference weight, the one we know is the true value, and we see if the balance's reading actually matches it. It's just not enough to be consistent. You also have to be correct. This slide really nails the difference, doesn't it? You can totally see how a balance could be super repeatable, giving you the same wrong number over and over again, but not be accurate at all. For a measurement to be truly reliable, especially in medicine or research, you absolutely have to have both. Now, the accuracy test is just as strict as the repeatability one, same 0.1% limit. But notice this, the test weight range is much, much wider. It goes from just 5% all the way to 100% of the balance's capacity. And that's to make sure the balance is correct whether it's weighing something tiny or something really heavy. All right, so our balance is consistent and it's correct. It passed the fundamentals. Now it's time for the advanced course, the stress tests. These are designed to push the balance to its absolute limits and make sure it performs perfectly in the real world. First up is a test called eccentricity. Let me ask you something. Does your bathroom scale give you the same reading if you stand on the far corner versus right in the middle? That's exactly what this test checks. A good balance has to give the right answer no matter where you place the object. And technicians are so methodical about this. It's not a random check. They test the center to get a baseline, and then they test every single corner, hunting for even the slightest deviation from that first reading. Next up is linearity. This test basically asks, is the balance just as accurate when it's weighing a feather as it is when it's weighing a brick? It confirms that the performance is a nice, straight, predictable line from the smallest possible measurement all the way up to its maximum capacity. And finally, there's sensitivity. This is kind of like a health check for the very heart of the balance, its internal load cell. Over time, with constant use, this core part can start to drift a little. The sensitivity test checks for that drift, just to make sure the balance's internal mechanics are still in peak condition. And get this, for these advanced tests, the limits get even tighter. The allowed deviation is cut in half to just 0.05%. This just goes to show you the extraordinary level of precision that's demanded to make sure these instruments are reliable in pretty much every situation you can imagine. So, we've done all these individual checks: consistency, correctness, corner loading, range testing, the internal health check. How does all of that come together to give us one single final stamp of approval? Well, it really comes down to these 5 building blocks. Calibration is the process of asking these 5 critical questions and making sure that for every single one, the answer is a definitive yes. When a balance passes all 5 of these tests, that's when it earns our trust. And this isn't just some random set of procedures someone made up. It's a highly regulated process, guided by official standards like the United States Pharmacopoeia's Chapter 41. It's that rigor, that attention to detail, that transforms a simple number on a digital display into hard, verifiable data, the kind of data that can lead to a scientific discovery or even a life-saving medicine. So the next time you see a really precise measurement, just remember everything that's going on behind the scenes. Because true precision isn't really about the number itself. It's about the deep, methodical, and pretty much invisible process of building trust, one test at a time. Thanks for digging into this with me.